everybody. Let's talk football. I'm Willie Richardson along with Coach Odell Jenkins. And Coach, last week we had some surprises, some upsets, I guess. We had Coach Hurt on last week, and they still undefeated. He beat Jim Hill 35-14. Murrah beat Clinton 42-41. Must have been a great football game, and some other games you watched last weekend.
Well, let's talk about that about the Murrah Clinton ball game. I think it was double overtime or 3 overtime. But that was a good ball game. That was a big ball game for Jackson Public Schools, not only for Murrah now, but the district needed that ball game. It shows that the Jackson Public Schools now, some of us going to be able to compete. It says something about the staff, says something about their kids, about their preparation, that they went into Clinton on the road and won a big ball game, big district ball game, and that was big for Murrah and also for Jackson Public Schools.
Well, we can't do anything with Starkville. They're just so tough every year. You know, they beat Ridgeland 26-23, and as you say, Callaway beat Lanier. So that's some great games last week, you know, and I guess when you get out of the district, you know, we talked early on, it's kind of difficult a lot of times for the Jackson Public Schools to compete. But as you say, this game that Murrah won was very good for Jackson Public Schools, that they can compete outside the district a little bit.
Yeah, and you mentioned about Starkville. I'm going to tell you what, Starkville, Tupelo is one of those places that never had a bad year. Starkville, year in and year out, Meridian is one of them places. You know, we played Meridian a bunch of times. Starkville is always in the playoff, and not only just in football now, Starkville is going to be back in basketball and baseball. Tupelo is one of them places. They never have a bad year. They're always going to be able to compete. But now, it's not bad. Starkville has beaten everybody in their district so far. So I'm looking to see Starkville back here in December at the Big House.
Well, I think it's going to be a great playoff this year. Look like a lot of teams are still undefeated in the state, and I think that the playoff this year is going to be real good. Going to be some great teams. Might be the best year we've had in a long time in high school football in Mississippi. Look like we got a lot of great teams here that's playing football this year.
Well, Brookhaven's in there. Wade Henderson, his new head football coach, I worked with him in Northwest Rankin. He was at Holmes Community College the last year. And he took over a program down at Brookhaven. They're undefeated. It's just amazing how many undefeated. He's undefeated. Coach Hurt's undefeated over at Northwest Rankin, where their first-year coaches with undefeated teams. That says something about their kids and about their coaching staff.
Well, Coach, we're going to try to look at some more football, but we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to bring a young man on with us here, Jerome Gentry, and he's got a book out, Mississippi Undiscovered Glory, and it talks a lot of things about his father and some things that they shared when they was growing up, and we're going to bring him on and talk to him about that and see what he's talking about.
Okay.
All right, Coach, and I'll be back after this message.
The Childhood Obesity Program at the Jackson Medical Mall focuses on making a positive impact on the lives of today's at-risk youth, ages 5 to 17. The program provides positive and productive, enriched physical fitness activities by offering opportunities for involvement in wholesome academic, social, cultural, and life skills programs that will serve as a lifelong guide in the development of cultural life skills. Contact Ms. Cooper at 601-982-8467.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Football. And Coach, we have a very special guest with us this afternoon, and I'm sure that's a guy that you're familiar with, and he's been around for a while. And I was just reading some of Jerome Gentry is the guy we're talking about. He got a book out, Mississippi Undiscovered Glory. And I was reading through the little insert he gave me about he played nose guard at 5'6" and 145, I guess, 144. I like to play against him, man. I don't get it. Was he that tough?
Jerome's a good football player now. Jerome, if anybody knows anything about my defense, you know, base it's on penetration. I don't care what you run on offense, penetration kills you. And we're going to get penetration, and I have to have a nose guard. So Jerome was my nose guard on the undefeated state championship team. Okay. So I'm going to tell you how Jerome got to be nose guard. Jerome was our starting fullback the first ball game at Vicksburg. And now it's argument. I say pummeled 4 times. Some folks say he pummeled 6 times, but he pummeled his way into the nose guard position.
Oh man,
yeah.
Jerome, look, welcome to the show, man. We're glad to have you here, and just reading up some stuff and looking at some interesting information here. And Coach will probably get into some of the things that you guys did. Very difficult to understand a 5'6", 144-pound nose guard. So you guys had a real good football team.
Oh, absolutely, we did. We were the first team in the state of Mississippi to go 12-0. We won the state championship, and we had a 22-game winning streak. That team was a super team, built of super players with great character. We had players that I think had an impact on state college football. It touched every one of Division I college football teams in the state of Mississippi. We had players go to Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Alcorn, Jackson State, Valley State. Even had a player, which you guys are going to have on a little bit later, Tyrone Keys, who played with the Bears in '85 when they won the Super Bowl. That team was, I don't think it compares to any other high school team in the state of Mississippi. And the book is called Mississippi's Uncovered Glory. And the title is that because there's no history that this team ever existed. There's no history. Callaway has no documentation of this team being there, and there no sport. Even the Sports Hall of Fame had no history of this team being there, existing. So. So I was compelled to write this book. The book started basically about my brother. I lost my brother in '77. He was talented as the next Walter Payton. He went to Jackson State in his freshman year. After his freshman year, he died of natural causes, and he was a part of that team. So I just wanted to tell his story. And after I started telling his story, the team came about. I started talking about this team and just found out some great things about this team. And that's how it all started. And it was great. We had a signing at the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame. We had a book signing, and some of the players came back. Some we hadn't seen in over 30 years came back to that book signing, and that's where it started.
But one thing about it, Jerome, that you were a nose guard, but you realize now what made that defense there with Tyrone on one side and Johnny Hines on that other tackle, and Jerome was the nose guard. Jerome got a lot of penetration, but he ran him out of the middle, and Tyrone took care of him after that point now. But that was great defense. That was great defense, and you win with defense. And so we had a lot of great players on that football team that went on, and not only just went on to play football. We had a bunch of good people who gone on, doctors and lawyers and people who were very professional, people who've done well, who played on that undefeated team with him.
Well, I tell you what, it's an interesting story, Jerome. I'm glad you put this together, man, and I hope people can pick it up. You say you had a website?
I do have a website. They can go to www.jeromegentry.com. Also on YouTube, you can type in Jerome Gentry and pull up a book trailer on YouTube. And hopefully, one other thing I want to say about this team. You remember this was in 1975. It was 6 years after integration, and these were black and white team members coming together to form a bond and do something in the state of Mississippi that had never been done before, to go 12-0, the first team in the history of the state of Mississippi to go 12-0. But it was 6 years after integration. And on that team, we never had any issues as far as black and white. That was so unique, I think, about that team. And as I go around and talk about this book, and people ask me, said, did you have any issues as far as black and white? No, what the coaches saw that if you were a good player, you're going to play black or white. So I'm excited about it being 6 years after integration, black and white players coming together and doing something that has never been done in the history of the state of Mississippi as far as going 12-0.
You had a good head coach over there. I know my son Ricky played with him. I played for him. Coach Inc was still there, and you had a good head coach, and I guess he was the guy who kind of kept things put together with good assistant coaches.
We had a dynamic coaching staff. We had Coach Jenkins was the defensive line coach. Coach Charles Allman was the head coach, and Coach Hill Denson was the coach over there, and Coach Skip Beerbro. So we had a dynamic coaching staff over there, and that kept us together. Coaches in this day and time, I'm not going to talk about the coaches in this day and time, but the coaches that we had, they cared about the players. They cared about the players. They cared about them as far as individuals, not just playing on the football field.
Jerome, I'll tell you what, we're glad to have you here. Coach, we always have this same problem. We run out of time. We're talking good stuff here, man. And I just want everybody to know that Mississippi Uncovered Glory is a great read. Jerome Gentry, we're glad to have you come by and talk to us about it. And everybody needs to get a copy of it. And you say it's on your website.
It is.
And they can do that. And how else can we get a copy of this? We need to.
Well, if they wanted to, they can call me direct.
Get your number right.
Jerome Gentry, 601-906-9373. Call me. I'd be happy to get you a book. Thank you.
All right, Jerome. We appreciate you, man. Coach, I tell you what, I've enjoyed it, man, having him by. And I hope I'm going to keep this, I guess. I know you got a copy already.
Oh, yeah, and I'll autograph. You know, I collaborated with Jerome that once you read it in there, so, but I'll leave my autograph it for you, Will.
I know, Coach, got to get some words in on that. He'll make that book. Okay, we're going to take a break. We got to take a break for these messages, but when we come back, we got Tyrone Keys going to come on the set with us. He's going to talk a little about what he's been doing. You know, went to Mississippi State, played with Chicago Bears on the '85 Super Bowl team, and Coach, you coached him too, didn't you?
Yes, I can tell you what, he's my masterpiece.
Okay, we'll be right back after these messages.
The Childhood Obesity Program at the Jackson Medical Mall focuses on making a positive impact on the lives of today's at-risk youth, ages 5 to 17. The program provides positive and productive, enriched physical fitness activities by offering opportunities for involvement in wholesome academic, social, cultural, and life skills programs that will serve as a lifelong guide in the development of cultural life skills. Contact Ms. Cooper at 601-982-8467.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Football. And Coach Jenkins, we got a very special guest with us, Tyrone Keys here. And you know a little about this guy before he went to the Mississippi State and the NFL. So, Tyrone, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, you know, Tyrone played defensive tackle for us at Callaway, and in fact, he was one of our All-Americans. In fact, we had 4 legitimate high school All-Americans on that team, and he was one of them at defensive tackle. And in fact, Tyrone was actually defensive tackle, the best defensive tackle in the southeastern part of the United States when he graduated. So.
You understand that because we got to be on the show tonight.
Yeah, well, he and Hugh Green. He and Hugh Green now. He and Hugh Green was best two lineman in the country at that time. So it's good to have him back on the show. Tyrone's done a lot. He's been a lot of places. He's got a good program down in Tampa. We're just happy to have you on the show, Tyrone.
Oh yeah, well I'm happy to be here. And just to bag up on your previous guest that was here, Jerome. You know, Jerome and I, we were like we were like, I'm 6'6" and he was 5'6", and we used to do everything together and hang out together. So it's really an honor and a privilege for both of us to be part of the show today. And talking about Jerome moving from running back to defensive nose guard, you know, I want to let people know that was a real act of character and humility on his part, because his brother was a star running back, and of course Jerome was. His senior year, he actually became a running back and rushed for over 1,000 yards. But I often tell his story because of it took a lot of humility on his part. And in life, nothing can really happen without humility. And I just wanted to give that shout out to Jerome and his book. And we actually are using his book as part of our book club in Tampa, Florida.
Well, one thing about it is, now if you fumble it many times, Jerome fumbled the football, you will have to find somewhere else to go, you know. that was very simple. You know, I realized, I'm an old football coach. He can call it humility if he wants to. He's either play nose guard or not play at all. Yeah. I lost track of how many times he fumbled that night. I said 4, but it might have been more than that. But Jerome, we needed Jerome. Jerome was quick off the ball. And we had you and Johnny Hines up in the middle. He was part of a great defense, but now I'm going to tell you what I could do. I could move Jerome down the side and move Johnny Hines down. I could leave you on that side by yourself now. And folks, in fact, Glenn was here last week talking about how difficult it was to block you. And but I told you, if you learn to use your hand and you learn to use your feet and use your skills, you'll make a bunch of money, and you've done that.
Well, I will tell you this, and I share the story, is that every